Alright everybody, as you can see, I finally getting around to doing my review on Linux Mint number 17. And this is basically like one of the first Linux distributions I can come out and say that, hey, if you have a Windows 7 machine that's acting funny, you can go and reformat it, put this on there, and it'll virtually be the same as Windows and maybe a little bit better. So first thing I'm going to do is show you guys the Office suite, because I know this is the primary concern for a lot of people. So here, pretty much it comes with LibreOffice. You can also add CalligraOffice, and both of these are actually available on Microsoft Windows as well. However, it is actually optimized to take advantage of Linux. You even have Gantt Project, which you can actually use to build your Gantt charts. So you also have your imaging tools. So you have LibreOffice's Draw program, and you also have something like Scribus. And Scribus is very similar to Microsoft Publisher. And it actually allows you to build different things that you would in Publisher. It includes plenty of templates for business cards, posters, and anything else you can really desire to use within your environment. And like a lot of open source products, it's also cross-platform. So you can actually use this on Windows, Linux, and OS X, just in case you're having to care. Even newsletters. Pretty much the primary reason people use this would be for your newsletters. So let me hit OK, show you an idea of what this looks like. And let's go with defaults, hit OK. Bing, bang, boom, maximize to get a better picture. Then you just fill this in, hit save, you're done. Export as PDF, nothing else to do. And I believe you can also export as a publisher file as well. Then of course your internet, we have Skype, so you can do Skype calls on here. Steam for you gamers, and then of course Chrome, the official version of Chrome, not this older version. And then Firefox, and then they even have a program known as Birdie, which really doesn't work all that well, so I advise you guys use Firefox if you want to use your Twitter accounts. And now kind of going back to your graphics, you also have Inkscape for your vector graphics. And then of course you have DIA to do simple diagrams. So you can basically use this as almost a visual replacement. Then we also have something known as Carbon, another program to do these type of diagrams. So load up. Yep, go ahead and use an empty template. Fire this way up, see what we got. And yep, another vector graphics program. Kind of sweet. Kind of like Adobe Illustrator. So let me exit out of that. Discard. Going back to graphics, and speaking about Illustrator, even have something to kind of simulate what you would have in Photoshop known as Krita. Or it's like one of the more advanced tools. I know most people actually use GIF instead, but to give you an idea what Krita looks like, because I know very few people have used it before. You have come design templates, film templates, texture templates. So let's try the comic template. I go with manga. And as you can see, you have the nice panels in here like you would if you were doing a comic book or a manga. So you guys are doing online digital comics, it's a good tool to use. And of course, all the tools that you'd have in Photoshop. And then some. And of course, everybody's favorite, the GIMP. So of course you can use this to edit certain images. So of course, pretty much let you guys know if you're gonna deadlift heavyweight, focus! Alright. Exit out of that. And also proves that okay, this is me that actually is running Linux. So anyone can not come here and say, well, you never use Linux, you don't know what he's talking about. I'm on Linux right now and that was a photo of myself. Okay. And of course, there's even something known as Castle to do certain database programs that you would access. And of course, everyone's favorite, which is Wine. Some things work and some things don't. One thing that does work with Wine, of course, would be a lot of the Beats of Rage mods, as well as Mugen. So you get a lot of beat 'em ups and fighting games that way. And then speaking about games, there are also plenty of emulators for Super Nintendo, NES, DOS with the DOS box emulator, and a few other ones, even PlayStation emulators. And then if you actually want to buy some games, you can go through the Zura. Steam, and then finally GOG Games. And let me go ahead and open up Firefox real quick, because I think very few people know what GOG is. Okay, my machine is thinking. When we're going to open up Firefox, I say open it now. Okay, so now, if I can't remember the site, let's type in GOG Games. Another nice thing about this is the fact that GOG has recently brought in a whole bunch of Linux games. So they're like, hey, we have Windows, Mac, and now Linux. Very nice. And unfortunately, I don't see any Linux games on the front page yet. Well, except for Flatout, which is $3. As you can see, nice. It runs on Linux Mint. Gotta love it. Alright, now we're on part 2 of this video. As you can see, I'm showing you guys a program known as Miro, which is basically a free open source program pretty much made for non-profits for audio video stuff. Pretty much look at this as your internet TV / radio / big podcast sort of program that pretty much finds and downloads everything to your hard drive from the internet that you can get for free. And it even supports torrents, so you guys use it as a torrent tool as well. And not just for videos, but also like your ISO files. You're trying to download huge Linux files and other programs from the internet. So let me quit out of this. And now I'll show you guys another program known as Clementine. And this you can almost think as an open source alternative to iTunes. And so that wants to think too long, open up Firefox. And actually, I think it is open by default because my default player, ironically. So now I say, okay, open up Clementine. So you can see, actually does see my iPod. So that I run Twist, I can actually view and play files from there, but it won't let me sync anything. Kind of a bummer. And then of course you have different tools in here. So let me just go to Preferences, show you some of the cool features. So you can link this to your Google Drive and other sites and your podcasts. It even has nice little plugins already built into it for different other sites and searches, such as SoundCloud. So it's a podcast. You set an account with gpotter.net, and this basically shows you a whole bunch of podcasts you can download from the internet. So almost think of it as iTunes portion of podcasts and iTunes, but from a web browser. Best way to describe it. So if you hit internet, you go to all different sources that are online. So I'll show you guys the What Up Though podcast. Give my buddies Mike. So boom, you show their podcast there. And it's a regular podcast you also get from iTunes and gpotter as well if you did a search in gpotter. So you can also go to your Google Drive and get songs off of here too. But since Google Drive was going a little slow today, I decided I'll spare you guys the dilemma and won't try to stream off of there. But instead go to the library. As you guys see here, boom. You guys set to automatically detect the files within your folder that you want to detect, and it adds it in there easily, just like with iTunes. But as mentioned earlier, yeah, you can play back. You can actually play back audio from your iPod, no problems. The problem is you can't sync anything because it's not a device that Apple recognizes, so therefore they won't let you do it. So let me quit out of there. Okay guys, back at the same recording again, and I found out one bug with recording my desktop, which I had to use because the other program I told you earlier was Kazam does not work too well with VirtualBox. And the bug that I mentioned is the fact that with recording my desktop, now they fixed the problems that I had with it in the past. You now have to make sure you select your screen first, or else your machine will lock up. You have to reboot, or at least with my version of Linux, which is Linux Mint. Without further ado, let me go to administration, and now Oracle VM VirtualBox, and show you guys what needs to be done to get your iPod actually synced within a Linux environment. So right now, as you can see, I have VirtualBox set up. Select the Windows XP because that's the extra Windows since I had available to myself. So once you have a working version of XP installed, but you have Service Pack 3, install XP or another version of Windows like Vista, if you just have to have a version, or Windows 7 or even Windows 8. Once it's successfully installed, go to USB under here and make sure you add a filter, USB filter for Apple. So you just hit the plus and select Apple if it's not already selected. So this is already ready to go. Go ahead and start it. Get a little more time to load. Pause. And of course, I've allowed this thing actually goes back to normal speed once I hit the pause button. Okay. So this time we'll go ahead and open up iTunes. So of course, I want you to install XP. You install the latest version of iTunes, but I don't feel like boring you guys on how to install iTunes because by this point, you guys should know how to install it. And of course, you actually will need iTunes to get your iPod to work. Because unfortunately, I tried every audio manager within Linux, such as Clementine, Tomahawk, and RhythmBox, and none of them will let you sync with your iPod. You can listen to music from your iPod, but it doesn't work. Well, as far as syncing is concerned. And then I know people are going to say, well, there's when we get one to install iTunes successfully within Linux Mint. Yes, you can install iTunes within Linux Mint, but considering you can't use it with your iPod, there's no point in installing iTunes in Linux Mint. Because it's basically going to be like a stripped down version of Clementine because, hey, guess what does? Everything Clementine does minus the features that are exclusive to Clementine as well as Tomahawk. So basically you have a stripped down version of RhythmBox on your machine next to RhythmBox, which really doesn't make any sense at all. Okay, without further ado, hit OK. I know, because I really don't want to have QuickTime on here too, just need iTunes. As you guys can see right here, it's actually syncing the iPod without any issues. So I was even able to create my own little mix in here for such an occasion. So you can even select your iPod to see what's on there. So I'll go to music real quick. Yep, and everything I want on this iPod is here. Even let you go through the stuff that's actually on the hard drive. And to actually get my music on here, let me minimize this real quick and show you guys one thing. Go to Start, Computer, and actually with the VirtualBox settings, I was actually able to go in there and share the music folder from my Linux machine. So it's a nice little sweet option. So you can actually do that, and iTunes can actually sync that folder into. It actually will record. Look at the folder on your actual physical machine within iTunes. So a nice little VirtualBox feature. So of course, go back to settings. Show you guys what I'm talking about, because you guys are like, what is this dude talking about? Go to shared folders. So I actually was able to mount this folder from my hard drive on my actual Linux box. So you see I have shared folders there. Go to music here. And boom. There's a music folder in Linux. And then go back here in this Windows VM. And boom, there it is in my VM. Same exact folders. Same exact folder and all the files that I need. So of course, I was actually able to go and actually add it to my library, or add a file or folder to the library. So it actually does work. So here I said okay. Boom, go to shared. Go to shared folder, and actually picked it out of here. So basically relatively simple. If you can share files within VirtualBox, you should have no problems doing this. And of course, no movie TV shows, guys. Had this for purely just demonstration purposes. So I'll go back to the library. And of course, you should technically still be able to go to iTunes Store if you want to. So let's test this out. And bam, bing, bam, boom, in the iTunes Store. Let me scroll this up. And of course, since this a VM wants to act super slow, but here's the thing, I noticed that, hey, my buddy's podcast shows up with no problems. So I hit enter, and here you guys go. That still want to see What Up Though podcast within iTunes. There it is. First selection. So you guys go ahead and download it. As you guys can see, he has a brand new. They have a brand new episode of pretty much all the stuff that's been going on. So that works. Back to my library. And of course, if I want to, I can disconnect the iPod by clicking this like you would in a real Windows machine. So now I'm done with that. I can go ahead and go to File, Exit, and turn off this VM. So ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is how you actually would be able to sync your music from your Linux machine to an iPod. Unfortunately, this is kind of a clunky way of doing it, but until they find a way to actually get one to really work with iTunes as far as singing their dance is concerned, this is pretty much primarily your best option. Alright, time for the next portion of this video. Alright, now to go ahead and wrap this thing up because I don't want this video to get too long. So, without further ado, quick wrap up. So like I mentioned earlier, you have all your audio video stuff in here. Even more stuff you get with Windows, and there's even something in here known as Radio Tray. And it's kind of a system tray program. And unfortunately, due to the way this screen recorder is set up, you really can't see it, but you click on the icon of system tray, you'll see this pop up. And from here you can actually pick your radio stations. So I believe you guys can see where I choose pop, and there's one radio channel. And of course I'm doing a live demo, it doesn't want to open anything. So let's try another one. So now you can hear that going. And that's about all I can really play, considering this is YouTube, of course. And I don't feel like having this video getting flagged over 2 or 3 seconds. So once again, program, we have our Bluefish editor, NetBeans, Mono, Image Map Editor, and Genie. Of course, we already definitely went through the Office tools really thoroughly already. Internet, we have our browsers, Firefox, Google Chrome, and of course your hacking tools like Wireshark and ZenMat. Probably some of the feature tools, and you guys can even do a remote desktop viewer for people that have remote desktop or VNC on their machines, and of course talk to people via Skype on the internet. Image editors, we even have something on here known as LibreCAD, which is basically, you can also get this as a free and open source version of AutoCAD. So those of you guys that are doing engineering, want to do some 3D design, you can use this. So there's a few things you can play around with. And of course, you have all the games in here. Whole bunch of them, along with emulators. We even have Blender in here for you to create your own ones with 3D rendering graphics. And of course, Gary's mod for the little sandbox thing. Of course, your regular accessories, and then Clam TK to scan your viruses, even though you don't have quite as many with this format. And of course, you have the package manager, sorry, software manager. So of course, at this point, you type in your password. So this wasn't enough software. Once thing loads up, you'll be able to pretty much get thousands of applications from different places within the repository. And while this loads, I'll go ahead and pause this video real quick. Okay, now the software manager has opened up. And you can see there's a whole bunch of packages for almost everything you can think of. So on the internet, we'll click on this one first. Let it load itself up, and then pretty much first show you the most popular programs you can get up front. Then we even look at games. Did they add anything recently? And of course, I'll show you the most popular categories for games, and then the most popular games you can download from here. And because they're interested in say, hey, first-person shooters. So what they got here, show you the current most popular first-person shooters. For some reason, people really do not like this version of Rise of the Triad. And of course, I mentioned earlier, all these emulators for emulation. And definitely will be downloading this one later. Just kidding. If you drive in and racing simulation games, Super Tux Kart, pretty much next best thing you're going to get on the PC. First best thing you get on the PC next to Mario Kart. Got the categories and office tools, just give you a variety. Also, you can play around with. Programming and IDEs, so different programming languages and IDEs you can play around with. We have Eclipse for those guys that like Eclipse over NetBeans. Actually, you can put both of them on there, and even have Glaze or anything you want. Just double click on it, bing, bang, boom, you're all set to go. And if that's not enough, you actually go to the community.linuxmet.com software browse, and they get search packages on their website. And this is actually a more up-to-date version of what you just saw there. So let's say you want some educational tools and software. Boom, right there. Hit back. Even more games here, based on which one's the most popular. Sound and audio, whole bunch of stuff here. And a lot of people like Audacious, so this may be another program I may download later on. Check out the screenshot. Nice little program for playing music. And I heard there's actually a plugin that actually lets you record internet radio, which may be useful for some people later on as well. Okay, so I showed you guys browsers, all the software update stuff, and let's see under administration. There's a couple more things I want to show you guys. First, I showed you guys you have used VirtualBox you would in Windows. Now that I showed you everything on here that pretty much is equivalent to Windows, I'm going to show you one exclusive program that actually works pretty good in this OS, which is KVM. So on there, once you get installed, it's going to be on a Virtual Machine Manager. And of course, it's supposed to be more of a bare metal VM, but unfortunately, the only OS that's so far seen to actually take advantage of it fully was Fedora 20. And then I also noticed, as mentioned in an earlier video, that the Kali Linux ISO file didn't really install properly in VirtualBox, giving me errors. I noticed that when I tried running it through KVM, it installed with no problems and ran flawlessly. And I could show you guys this, this and this running either way, but unfortunately, it's going to be what's the video. I already done videos on both Kali Linux and Fedora 20. And as an FYI, for some reason, Ubuntu 14 actually runs at half speed as it does with VirtualBox. I understand it doesn't make any sense, but for some reason, with KVM on this machine, it's just how it is. or should I say it's really the virtual machine manager using KVM. Okay, so double check, make sure I'm not missing anything. I mentioned earlier, wine lets you pretty much play a lot of, emulate a lot of Windows software, especially the Beats of Rage and Open Beats of Rage packs, and then definitely the Mugen games. So you may want to check out those, especially Street Fighter 4. And of course, administration, typical stuff you see in Windows as well, how you get your printer set up, system monitor for processes and so on, user groups. Then you can even click on the menu bar and this will pop up. So you go to your panel settings and everything else. So panel settings, yes, you do some of this stuff. And for me, you go to all settings you would if you're in an OS X machine and check your settings that way. So it's like it basically took a blend of the best of both Windows and Mac OS X and put it in one nice little neat package with all the goodness of Linux all wrapped up for you to make everything nice and easy to use. Even adjust your fonts, and then there's themes, and even go online for additional themes. And speaking about OS X, there's actually one that pretty much looks like OS X. Oh, it's Snow Leopard pack. Go to more info and get a screenshot. Not really OS X all the way. However, I type in OS X, hit more info on this one, and there we go. This is the OS X we all know and love. However, this is actually in a Linux environment and not a full-fledged OS X machine. So just something to take into consideration. And then another one just for aesthetics. Close, but the other one I think was a lot closer to OS X aesthetics. And you can even go to like different versions of Linux, or actually just different mods they have on here, so I'll just go through some of them. Okay, that wasn't really too spectacular in my humble opinion. It's eye candy. Just give you guys an idea. And there's something to make it even look like elementary style. So pretty much look like elementary OS. That's the features in there. And yeah, someone even went bothered to make, hey, let's try to make your desktop look more like Facebook. So laugh out loud. They even have a desktop thing to make your whole desktop look like it's like one big giant Facebook page or app. Okay, the final verdict, I have to rate Linux Mint 17 a 9 out of 10, which is almost pure solid gold. It's definitely a replacement for Windows 7 and older versions of the OS. If you don't have or want an iOS device, final recommendation is definitely download and try this version of the Linux operating system. And hey, you can even make this your main desktop operating system because hey, it'll do everything Windows 7 does, minus the iOS stuff. Until next time, see you guys later. Peace out.